What's going on, y'all? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. This week on Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, it's a 1E build. I request this. April fucking Fools. Goblin Goku, really, when you think about all the dancing around and punching you're gonna do. It's really fucking cool. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, ding the bell. Stay caught up on all your stuff. Remember, Patreon is the #1 way to keep these videos going, get you access to sheets with cool builds, and get you other cool rewards and games as well. For now, let's dive in. Okie dokie. So you want to know what I like about this one the most? It's simultaneously very, very goddamn powerful, but also like brain dead easy to play, which is something that you don't often see in first edition Pathfinder. But like, for context, an adventure made to feel like the AD&D Tomb of Horrors just all the time. Lots of very big pain, lots of very big bad, lots of death everywhere you go. And this was so good that in the span of 6 seconds, at level like 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there, a Baylor, which exploded and was really funny, and a Vrolikai dead. Dunzo. Very quickly. It's real good at what it does. Which, BT dubs, let's talk about what is. So, this monk is not just any monk, it is in fact a monk of the Mantis. A monk that I really thought would have more a Chakek flavor text in it. I'm sort of surprised it doesn't. But it's an unchained monk that trades out a copious amount of its bonus feats for sneak attack, but only during a flurry of blows. It also gets the ability to debuff more with Stunning Fist, but mostly we're looking at monk plus sneak attack on this one. Anything with a limited amount of sneak attack also combos with something that I literally don't think we've talked about on BDG, at least not in this space ever before, and I'm kind of sad that we haven't because it's really cool. Variant multi-class. Those of you who play 2E more than 1E will recognize the bones for the archetype system here. In 1E, Variant Multiclass let you trade out half of your feats, specifically the feats at 3rd, 7th, 11th, 15th, and 19th, for the class features of other things. The Rogue Variant Multiclass gets Uncanny Dodge, Evasion, Improved Uncanny Dodge, and Trap Finding, but more importantly, from 7th up, gets a scaling sneak attack dice, which stacks really well with anything else with scaling sneak attack dice, which when you then consider that the monk's unarmed strike damage, even though we're playing small today, scales up real well, means that in one round, assuming your sneak attack is proccing, you have so many attacks on full base attack that you can just make things super dead. This is something we will be accomplishing with the Dimensional Agility feat line. It takes a little while to get there because as a monk, we need to grab Abundant Step to be able to do this, but eventually it lets you full attack while dimension dooring, using a swift action to teleport up to twice your speed, dividing it in between your first and other attacks. You gotta go 5 feet each time, but this can let you pass out a bunch of damage like the Startoss feat line does, or just beat the shit out of one person. Eventually, at the very top of this feat line, good old Dimensional Savant lets you flank with yourself. When you're using a flurry of blows, when you're full attacking, you've procced your sneak attack dice with yourself. See where I'm going with this? As long as you have the key to Abundant Step, you press the button, you throw a lot of dice at things, and then land somewhere nice and safe. And then land somewhere nice and safe. But there's one bit of complication with it. The fact that, well, Dimensional Savant is the 4th feat in a chain of feats. You know we don't like feat chains in this house. This is like one of the ones I keep mostly intact, but as it stands, on something like Variant Multiclass that isn't getting a lot of feats in the first place, anything one could do to make this happen faster seems real good, and that's why this is like the one case where I'm a big fan of, as written, the retraining rules from first edition. Usually at my tables I'll just be like, oh, you don't like that? Oh shit, yeah, please fix that. But did you know that it was FAQ'd that as long as a feat is valid for your current character, you can retrain, say, your level 1 feat for a feat you currently qualify for but you didn't then? Right? Isn't that fucking wild? Thus, this build essentially has 2 stages, which I sort of like narratively. We're going to need a hyperbolic time chamber. But 20 levels of the Unchained Monk today for the choice of ancestry. When I GM'd for it, it was on a goblin, but I'm going to pick a monkey goblin, even though it's strictly worse because it has a wisdom neg. Why? Because this has Son Goku written all the fuck over it, and I need something that has a tail and can eat voraciously. So yeah, no, that's what we're going for here. I also really like the monkey goblin's innate and much faster climb speed. I think non-magical 3-dimensional movement, especially in low-level play, is really, really goddamn powerful. And even once everything is online, if you can end your dimensional assault such that you're on the ceiling, out of the threat range of folks, it opens up a bunch of squares for other people, gets you out of threat ranges, gets you out of AoEs. It's spicy shit. For our traits, trained martial artist will give us a +1 to damage when we're punching people. We super like that because we're going to be punching people often. Reactionary's got to be the second one. I really wanted to take something like Axe to Grind because I think it's super hilarious to get a trait bonus to damage when only you are threatening, and only you are threatening, and you're flanking with you and you and you and you, but it's only just you, so it's totally fine. So when in doubt, staple the +2 to initiative. You'll love to see it. For our stat priority, the most important things you could ever get for a monk forever at all times: dexterity and wisdom. Wisdom fuels our ki, fuels some of our abilities, fuels our armor class, fuels our will save. Dexterity does everything else: AC, initiative, attack, and damage. Oh, right. Hey, follow this card right up here real quick, would ya? Let's talk about how this build would be really, really useless, rules as written, and tell about 8,000 gold in and an agile amulet of mighty fists. So why gate things behind money when you could just, hand the thing to someone so they can play what they wanted out the gate, then let them spend their money on cool things. Constitution is important, or as important as you're going to be in the front row. Doesn't need to be as high as everything else, but needs to be somewhat high. Another thing I really love about this brain dead build is it has 3 dump stats. You don't need strength, you're not carrying anything, and you're punching with your speed. Leave that to the Magus that's also doing this build. And you don't need charisma. Leave that to the Blood Rager that can Dimension Door that's also doing this. Yeah, that sounds good. But okay, feats time. So some of these are going to get retrained really, really fast, and some of these are going to exist for a little while and then no longer exist afterwards. Our feat at level 1, one of my favorite feats ever forever, roll with it. Because in the beginning, people are probably going to hit you and stuff. You can make an acrobatics check at a DC of 5 plus damage dealt as an immediate action. If you succeed, you take no damage, but instead convert the damage into movement, with each point equaling 1 foot of movement. So if you would have taken 10 damage, you move 10 feet. If you would have taken 4 non-lethal, you move 4 non-lethal feet. Somebody's Deinonychus trimmed their talons, I see. You immediately move in a straight line in a direction of your choice, the number of feet rounded up to the nearest 5 foot, up to your actual speed. Hey, we're monks, we go really quickly. If you would hit a thing or a person, the movement immediately ends. You take D4 damage and you fall prone. The involuntary movement provokes attacks of opportunity from everyone who wasn't the person who hit you. So here's a weird thing that I'm going to play Pit Fiend's advocate about in this moment. Someone with a climb speed, if they're hit and use roll with it, and then choose to move straight up and might contact the ceiling. I feel like when Goblins of Galarian came out, the Monkey Goblin, or the Goblin that gets a climb speed as an alternate racial trait might not have been out yet. I could be wrong. But like reflex saving to grab onto the ceiling, acrobatics checks for fall damage in an awkward way. I don't know, it seems fun. And even if your GM won't let you bounce to the ceiling and be out of range, this will almost always move you out of range at the beginning, and then you can just charge again. Our feat at level 3 is replaced with Trap Finding. Our 5th level feat will be Accomplished Sneak Attacker for +1d6 extra sneak attack dice. These 2 feats will be dropped when we reach level 9. They will look like something else. Specifically, they will look like the next 3 feats we're about to take. So you remember that part where I said that the dimensional feat lines are really long chain? I haven't watched old footage, and I know I've made a lot of dimensional builds. I think I've always ruled it that dimensional agility and dimensional assault should be rolled into 1 feat, because like 4 feats is really taxy, and I'm not about it. If I said something different years ago, this is what I believe today. Hey, players of mine who might be taking this and are watching this, this is how I rule it today. Dimensional agility and dimensional assault I have put together into 1 feat to make it a little less taxing. We will get the benefits of both at level 9 after our first sneak attack dice. Dimensional agility, of course, gives us not only a +4 bonus on concentration checks when casting teleportation spells, which will never fucking come up. After using Abundant Step, we can take any actions we still have remaining on our turn, which makes it, combat viable. Then Dimensional Assault lets you, as a full round action, Abundant Step and Charge, teleport up to double your current speed, and make the attack normally allowed on the charge to, jump into a flank. We get Evasion as a monk, so it kind of feels bad that you get it twice over, but it is what it is. I'm not sure what the rules as written here is, but I feel like at 11th level you could just grab Improved Evasion because you've got 2 ticks of it. Dimensional Dervish at level 13 lets us take a full attack after Abundant Stepping as a swift action. Doing this, again, reduces the teleport distance to up to twice your speed, punch, 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 and then use the remainder of your speed after you close the distance with the guy to then land somewhere safely, or even just, hey DM, how high is the ceiling? 15 feet? Cool. And then up you go. This is where the retrain kicks in. When you hit level 13, you want to move. When we hit level 13, we will want to move Dimensional Agility and Dimensional Assault immediately to level 1. We'll then put Dimensional Dervish on our level 5 feet, and on our level 9 feet, we'll put Dimensional Savant. We just barely qualify here. But this then allows us to provide flanking whenever we do the thing, and that means by level 9, this build is functionally complete. Everything else is gravy. Everything else is entirely what it is. Everything you needed to come online is now online. But since level 1 is now Agility Assault, level 5 is now Dervish, and level 9 is now Savant, that leaves us our 13th and our 17th level feat to do with other things. And you could just then grab, roll with it, and accomplish Sneak Attacker and call it good. Call it a day there. But if you don't think you'll be fighting constructs, think you might be playing the kind of person who might want to knock someone out and take them back for questioning as opposed to just violently punching them to death DBZ style, or you just want to cheese on too much damage, instead you could, at level 13, take Sap Adept to when you're using bludgeoning damage, aka these hands. You get a bonus on your damage roll equal to the number of sneak attack dice you roll for a humongous jump up in damage. And then Sap Master to let you casually double your sneak attack. See where we're going with this? GMs, don't worry. They're going to take that big bad evil guy you made alive and they're going to talk to him and redeem them, and it will be very fulfilling narratively, and it won't be just like the DBZ power arc. Or it totally is, and also valid. We see you. But Unchained Monks get a bunch of stuff. Really, you could see a lot of the bones for Tui in the way this developed in like different feat styles. First, our style strikes, which are meant to add on even more damage, give us a little bit of tech things, or in some cases kind of just help us survive until everything is online. Flying Kick is first, as it always is, I feel like. Before you make an attack, you move a distance equal to your fast movement bonus, made as part of a flurry of blows, without requiring another action. You have to attack an adjacent foe at the end of the movement, and it can be between multiple attacks. I want a full attack. I can't 5-foot step to get to them. Flying Kick. I'm full attacking. Oh god, that person is dead. Flying Kick. I full attacked using Dimensional Savant. That person is dead. I have one more attack and a full attack routine. That person's in my fast movement range. Say it with me, kids. Flying Kick. Staple for a reason. Likewise, Elbow Smash, doubling down if you took the Sap Master route. If you hit with an attack, you can make an additional attack using the same attack bonus at a -5. If the second attack hits, it deals damage as normal, but all the damage is non-lethal. Next, Leg Sweep. If you hit with an attack, you can make a free trip attempt using the BAB of the attack used to hit. It doesn't provoke. By the time we're getting this, there are going to be a lot of things that are freedom of movement, ing, flying, so on and so forth. But never underestimate that one tool in the toolbox that really comes in handy when you fight something that's land-based or is currently on the ground because they had to fly down to the barbarian to get to him, right? And then lastly, Spin Kick to target flat-footed when you're doing a flurry of blows. If for some reason everything's turbo shut off and you couldn't abundant step, this will let us kick on our sneak attack dice. Pun not intended. Damn, I walked right into that. Again, since functionally everything is coming from variant multiclass or a couple of feats, these are just tools in the toolbox in case you need them. It's kind of the same story for our key powers too. Some of these are as good as the amount of wizards you don't have. Some of them are just good tech choices. First up, High Jump. It does what it says on the tin. Lets you add your level as a bonus on all acrobatics checks to jump. both for vertical and horizontal. You always count as a running start when you do so. You can spend a point from your key pool as a swift action as well to get a plus 20 untyped bonus on that check to jump for when you just really need to leap that tall building and you would like to do it in a single bound. Several of our debilitating blows options take up our key powers, so we won't get another one until 8th level, but it's got to be abundant step, otherwise everything falls apart here. As written, it's a move action, it costs 2 points from our key pool, with a caster level equal to our monk level, and we can never ever take anyone with us. This is just press button, jump around, punch people, lather, rinse, repeat. Wind jump. One of the reasons we took high jump, because it's a prerequisite, lets us spend 1 point from our key pool as a move action to grab a fly speed with perfect maneuverability equal to our base land speed. We gotta end our movement each round on something that can support our weight. Bonus points if you balance on the dragon, I guess, or fall as normal. Considerably easier to justify when you can stick to the walls, stick to the ceiling. And again, it's the option to have when we just turbo need a fly speed and our best friend the wizard didn't make the session that day. Hey, speaking of wizards, those are probably the bane of our existence, so let's also grab Diamond Soul to spend 2 points from our key pool as a swift action to gain SR equal to our level plus 10 for a number of rounds equal to our level, or generally speaking, burn 2 points from our key pool and then get SR for a combat. I feel like it is reasonable to assume that most beings, unless you're like the only martial character in this party, that want to kill you by hitting you with a weapon probably are not going to be getting to you because they'd have to run through the barbarian first. And so folks who can cast at us and folks who can shoot at us are the dangerous one. Having resistance against that, very important. Which is why, key volley. When those spells don't overcome our SR, we can spend 2 key points as an immediate action to spell turning the power word eat shit back to the wizard. They never saw it coming, and then they have to ask themselves, what is my greatest fear? Oh god, it's this guy having key volley, and then they died to their own Phantasmal Killer. And it's fucking hilarious. Then lastly, Diamond Resilience. 1 key point as a swift action for a minute or a couple rounds of buffing before you go in the door. You get, by the time we get this, at level 20, DR6 over all the things. Because, if you made it this far, why not? Actually, speaking of why not, on that note, I don't think I ever talk about this. I should more. I made a whole ass video ranking these way back in the day. Chronicle of Legends released a bunch of alternate capstones, and I feel like rather than becoming an outsider with DR10 over Chaotic and an ability to regain key points really, really slowly, I think it feels better, given all of the things that we're getting up to here, to grab Old Master as our 20th level capstone ability, to grab 1 additional attack at highest bad when Flurry of Blowsing, and to get a plus 2 dodge bonus to AC. How many Demon Lords does the GM have to break out to get you off your bullshit? There's only one way to find out, by being that guy. We also get a bonus feat at level 1. We're gonna grab Deflect Arrows. Why? Because we're jumping all over the place, and archers might have a problem with that, and so we would like to stop that. Another thing I really love about this build is its magic item choices are, again, brain dead easy. The big 6, always very important. Follow this card right up here. All you really need to purchase on this is a monk's robe to treat your monk level as higher for the purposes of your punching ability, and 1, maybe even 2, really, rings of key mastery, or really as many as you can get your hands on. They allow a wearer with a key pool, hey, that's us, to store up to 2 key points in them as a swift action. They remain in the ring until they are used. There's nothing in here that's like when you take off the ring, the key points are drawn to someone who in another universe is holding up their arms and saying, give me your energy, PC! As long as there's 1 key point in a ring, you get a plus 2 to CMD against grapple, reposition, and trip, blah. As long as there are at least 2 key points in the ring, you reduce the number of key points needed to do our stuff by 1 to a minimum of 1. So at the beginning, I feel like it's buy 1, put 2 key points in this, rest, then reduce all of our spend 2 to spend 1, and then later on when you get more money, just buy too many rings and switch them out or drain them to have not infinite key, but as much key as money can buy. And that is indeed what it does. I want to say more about this, but I feel like it is, again, so simple, so easy to do that I feel like I've covered everything. Brain empty. no thoughts, only ki, only jump around a bunch. You know what? Actually, JK, there's one more thing. One more key magic item I should bring up. You should grab on your Amulet of Mighty Fist the training enchantment for Outflank. We for sure get a further +2 on all of our attacks when we're doing what we want to be doing. We had this conversation when we night crawled for dummies as well, but let's do it one more time. Dimensional Savant says you can effectively flank with yourself and multiple allies when using this feat. You are always considered to be your own ally for feats and traits and spells and things, and this is like the one corner case, JK, there are probably more, something Witch Ball, where you can effectively be in more than one place more or less simultaneously. So that thing in Outflank where it says if someone crits, it provokes, letting that then ride back to everywhere else you've been in that full attack routine to get more attacks is really powerful, and some GMs won't let you do it. But like, A, the full caster is going to do way more invalidate the whole encounter worse things. B, it leans into being the prince of all goblins, I mean Saiyans, in a really interesting way. And C, we don't have combat reflexes this time. JK, training enchantment, combat reflexes. Make it happen, kids. This can only happen a number of times and is objectively incredibly win more because you don't need it. The full attack will probably down most things in the span of 6, if not 12 seconds before the rest of your friends go in and fuck them up. So I don't see any real problem in leaning in a little more in the name of making the build be all it can be, but that is all the time I had for this one. What do y'all think? Tell me about your dimensional bullshits. Tell me about your goblins. Tell me about your monks. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.